Loves, Sarah Ezrin here. I'm excited for today's practice. So you know this part that like always bunches up right here, like this, or maybe you don't know because it just like is like this all the time. That's what we're going to work on today. We're going to work on releasing the upper back muscles away from the ears, or better yet saying taking off the backpack of stress that so many of us carry around, or the shell that we tend to hide inside of, so that we can just find a little more length, space, breath, all of the above. So let's come on to sit. We'll start in Sukhasana. Sit on the blanket, cross your shins, right shin in front of the left, and maybe even shrug the shoulders into the ears just to see what that feels like. Or maybe, like I said, they were there already. And then on an exhale, slide the shoulder blades straight down. And just when you think they've released, release them a little more. And just when you think you've released them even more, release them even more. Let the weight of the elbows be like pulleys, starting to release the trapezius, the muscles of the neck, maybe do a little side to side. We'll need 2 blocks and a blanket today. Let's start with 1 block behind us, twisting towards the left. So taking the right hand across the body and the left hand behind you, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, begin to twist. But here's the thing, right? When we cross the right arm over, automatically for a lot of us, that drives the shoulder up. So you may want to have your hand further out, or work here with the hand in front of the left knee, but slide the right shoulder down. And then on the exhale, turn from the uppermost spine. So by drawing the shoulder down the back on that right side, the shoulder blade almost starts to invite that side of the chest to open. And then we'll come on to center, reach both arms up just for a breath. Exhale, folding. You can have the hands down. And I think it's nice to like juxtapose the twisting, which is a little more effortful, with this more easeful forward bend, and see what's a little easier to find the length. And then come up to sit and switch the cross. We want both in both, right? So what I mean by that, let's go ahead and twist now towards the right, left hand across, is that in a pose that's more effortful, like the twist, we want to find a sense of ease. And so today, really targeting the upper spine, the shoulders, but maybe for you, it's your jaw, your lips, your eyes, all those things softening, so that when we effort on the exhale and twist, it's from this place of softening. And then we'll come back around, reach both arms up. Now here on an easeful pose, exhale, we do need to remain a little more effortful in some areas. I would think for this one, I would say a little more attentionally. So it's not an efforting necessarily in a physical form, but just that effort to stay aware. Notice the shoulders and breathe. All right, let's come all the way around. We'll come to hands and knees. Set up in a tabletop. Just leave your blanket somewhere. You may or may not need it. Towel works. We don't need it for a while. Going into cat-cow, inhale. Arch the spine. Lift the chest up and through. Exhale and round. And bring your awareness. There's a lot moving in the cat-cow. See if you can bring most of your awareness into the shoulder blades and how on the inhale they slide down, almost like they're fitting into a pocket in the back. And then on the exhale, there's a widening. Do 2 more of those on your own. Shoulder blades slide into the back pocket. Exhale, they broaden. We'll come into a neutral spine. Pause here. Have the wrist right underneath the shoulders. Curl the toes. We're going to lift the knees and hover the shins off of the floor. Take an inhale. So clearly an effortful shape. Exhale first. Soften something. Inhale once more. This time on the exhale, float the shins up and then pause. And maybe those first few breaths, you're like, oh, I got this. Or maybe it's shaking right away. We're just observing our responses. We're just seeing when those old habits of wanting to hide in begin, and using intensity in the physical body to create that awareness in the nervous system. So just like you did in your cat-cow, slide the shoulder blades down, widen them, press through the tops of the thighs, stay breathing. Like a turtle coming out of its shell, keep the crown of the head reaching forward, but even that little turtle tail, so the tailbone draws away from the crown. One more inhale. Exhale, press to a hovering child's pose. Pause, and then straighten the legs. And let's come into our first downward dog and just let it be that kind of peeling off or the shaking off of the first layer. Like an onion, that first layer may be sloughing off a little more easily. And that could just be the debris of the day even. Maybe it's literal debris like dog hair or Cheerios if you have kids. Take a deep breath in, open the mouth, and let's walk the hands to the feet at the back of the mat slowly. When you arrive, inhale, reach the chest forward halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Let's interlace the hands behind the head, like you're doing a sit-up. But rather than yanking the head down and creating a rounding, just let the weight of the hand start to create length in the neck. So if you hook the heel of the hand to the back of the skull, then you've got the weight of the arms, gravity, all of that, even just the head, creating some space, some length in the cervical spine, and maybe even a little more internally. And we'll release the arms, hang freely, slowly rising one vertebrae at a time. Take your time so the head and the neck are the last things. Welcome. Let's meet at the top. We're going to go right into a little mini flow here. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhaling, we fold forward. Whatever you got the room for with your arms. Inhale, look forwards halfway. Exhaling, step your left foot back and lower the knee to the floor. We're going to keep the left hand down under the shoulder. As you exhale, open up the right arm. Make sure both arms are wide like a T shape. And then with both arms wide, we can find that access a little more of the sliding of the shoulder blades down. As you press the blades in towards your chest, draw your rib cage towards your inner thigh. And then turn from that bottom hand, much like you would in like a side plank. Bringing the top hand down, meet in knees position, modify chaturanga, inhale here, exhale, lower halfway. Inhale back up to a plank, curl the toes. This is my new favorite version of up dog, just getting even more length in the front body. Drop the hips, keep the toes curled under, come through here, elevated upward facing dog. Pass back through a plank and then all the way to a down dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step your left foot forward. We'll do the same thing here. Lower the back knee. You know, if you can't get the foot all the way, you put it down and pull it where it needs to go. Grounding now through the right hand, top arm up. Remember just the position of the arms. Like, sure, you can take the arm overhead, but we're keeping them in a wide T, at least in the beginning, so that we can feel, and I'll move my hair so you see it, that slide of the scapula away from the ear, and also just the opening that it creates on the neck and the head. Like, imagine, you know, if we were like this all the time, how is that affecting our thinking? Roll the chest on the exhale, look up, and release, hands down. This time we'll step up to the top. Inhaling, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. You can have your hands behind your head again if you liked that. Inhale, we rise up. Exhale, the hands to the heart. Let's do the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chest forward. This time, right foot back. We're going to step directly to plank on this round. Inhale at the top. You're always welcome to modify if you need. Exhale, lowering all the way to the tummy. Inhale into your version of a back bend. So you can stick with cobra, you can do upward dog, you can go back to the cow tilt, pass through the plank, and back to dog. We just take an inhale first, initiating some length. Exhale, step the right foot as far as it can go, right? If it doesn't go, you pull it the rest of the way, and this time step it up. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rise. Bring the hands to the heart. All right, I'm gonna face you. You can face whatever direction you want. Coming into tree pose, Vrikshasana. So, right foot to the inside of the left thigh. I think what's really cool about tree is that it automatically, even those of us that do it all the time, I don't even know why I'm so wobbly because I'm talking, even those of us that do it all the time, it still elicits that same response as if you were falling off a cliff, even though you're like 3 feet from the floor. So come into your version of the balance, right? You could have your hand in the wall and teeter and it'll still bring up that nervous system reaction. So for you in your tree, and maybe for some of you, your arms are up, your eyes are closed, purposely create an imbalance so you can feel how your body responds. And then let that rise, right? Be with it. Even if you fall out, you come back in. Then can you start to soften into the movement of it? Can you breathe into the experience of it? Pick the variation that works for you. And then maybe find a place where you are settled and still. And notice now that you can be in the intensity, but also be with the intensity. Last breath. And we'll come into the other side, okay? So left foot this time, again, be it a wall. You can have your knee on a chair, lower calf, upper leg. We're gonna purposely challenge our balance. So if you come in and it's like perfect, ready to go, whatever perfect means, then we're kind of missing the lesson here. I want you to challenge it for you. And that's gonna mean different things for everybody, right? So for some of you, it's simply looking up. Some of us are looking all the way up, closing the eyes. Make yourself fall. Not because we're trying to nail the shape, right? But because we're learning how to be in the imbalance calmly, rather than being thrown by every wave or wind. I'm putting a big wind in my room right now for my trees. How do you find that centering within? So even if you are falling, you have that anchor point. Last breath. And release. Or maybe you don't get it at all, and that's okay. All right, let's come back to the top of the mat. From here, chair pose. Inhale, bend the knees, reach your arms up. Exhale, bring the hands onto the hips. We're gonna come into twisting chair. First, take an inhale, lengthen. Lengthen through the crown, but keep the blades releasing down. Exhale, twist the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. There is a tendency in twisting postures for us to kind of crane to look back. I invite you instead to look to the side of the room. So the same side as your mat, same side as your hip. And when you exhale and twist, push the palms and turn from the thoracic, turn from the mid and upper back. And then you can look up, so the rotation's happening in the neck, but we're keeping that long spine. One more inhale. And release. Exhale, drop the head. Coming directly into side two, right into your chair, bend both knees, arms up. Hands in prayer. Maybe there's an anticipation, knowing what's coming on this side. Hook the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Twisting chair. I'm keeping my feet a little bit apart here. I'm still 6 months postpartum. I like to keep some space. It doesn't even matter what your reasoning is. If that feels more spacious for you, you do that. Conversely, right, you can open your prayer. What we're really working on though is just what's happening in the neck and the shoulders. And how does that translate to your experience? Shoot the left hip back a little bit, lean open, look up. And then release, bring the hands down. From here, chair pose once again, bend the knees, arms up. Rise all the way up. Bring the hands to prayer. All right, we're gonna step out wide. If you got 2 blocks, great. If not, 1 will do just fine. Reach the arms to the sides. Coming into warrior 2 on the right side. So pivot the right leg out. Right heel to left heel. Take a big inhale. Exhale, we'll bend the front knee. So like we played with intensity and balance, now we're gonna play with intensity in sensation. Warrior two, go ahead and bend the elbows, maybe do a little rockin' and rollin'. Aptly named for its strength and its ferocity, but there is also a steadiness to the warrior. There's an inner repose that we want to start to refine here. So you notice where you're holding, release it, check the head, the neck. Turn the head back and forth a few times, look to the back hand, reverse, inhale. Exhale, Parsva Konasana. Take the right hand to the block. Top arm straight up to the sky. It's the same positioning of the arms, even though the torso and the pelvis have changed. Although the torso is actually the same, right? Just the pelvis tips forward. Slide the shoulders down the back and roll the chest. And then breathe. The front leg's probably starting to speak to you a little bit. What other parts are joining in the chorus that don't need to be quite so loud? And we'll come up on the inhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten the front leg, parallel the feet, and let's come into the second side. So left leg out, arms up, slowly start to bend the front knee. Heel to heel with the feet, that just creates a little more width in the back. And then for those first few breaths, we're just kind of moving around into it till we settle into the depth of the pose. And when I say depth of the pose, I don't mean how far you can bend, right? It's just finding that place where you feel like you're sitting in the pocket of the experience. The muscles of the neck are softening. Test it. Turn your head side to side. Maybe a little side bending, a little lateral movement. And then look to the back hand. Reverse. Inhale, left arm sweeps. Exhaling the left hand to the outside of the front foot. I'm going for height on my blocks today. Top arm up. You can have your bottom hand flat. You can also be elbow to knee. With the arms across, slide both shoulder blades down. Soften the front ribs. That tends to poke the ribs forward. And then turn the whole torso. Obliques are engaged in twisting the chest up. Reach through the top arm, maybe look up. And we'll press our feet. Inhale, rise. Second warrior pose. Hands on hips. Parallel the feet. Bend your knees. You can step or hop your feet together. All right, stepping out wide for Prasarita Padottanasana with the twist. Have both blocks in front of you, or one block, or none, or water bottles, whatever. Get creative. Just something that you can get a little more height. Hands on hips, big inhale. Exhale, we'll fold, placing the right hand underneath the head. And again, like I got longer legs, I'm probably gonna go up a level on my block. It's not about getting the hand to the floor. Left arm to the left. It's always about space in your spine. Inhale first. Exhale, start to turn your body. And then this is a great pose to really feel into what's happening in the pelvis. And I know for a long time there was this mantra to square the hips, but as time has gone on, at least in my body and from what I see in others and have heard, letting the back hip drop, letting the twist originate on the pelvis, continue through the spine, and then open through the upper chest can be a lot more forgiving for the sacrum over time. What's that bottom shoulder doing? Not only is it sliding down the back, draw it into the chest, push out of the bottom block, and then very slowly switch sides. So we're coming up to any height that works for you. I'm gonna go a little higher today than usual. Left arm on the block, right arms to the right, pause. Go ahead and let the back hip drop if it needs to. Top arm all the way up towards the sky. And it's not to say you can't square the hips. I mean, in your body, you're more than welcome to do that. I just know in mine, and from what I've heard from other students and my teachers, the SI joints, that's where the sacrum and the hip bones meet, right at the pelvis, can get a little crunched. So you want that forgiveness. So the turn is really happening in the chest and the upper spine anyway. That's where we're trying to twist the thoracic. And then the neck will turn easily. We never really have to worry about that one. Reach and release. Bring both hands to the floor or the blocks. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. You can place the crown of the head on the floor. If you're pressing into tripod headstand, this is a nice place to do that. If you want to get your head onto a block, you can take the restorative variation, which is just as lovely. Don't let the word restorative fool you. We'll inhale, heart forwards. Exhale, hands on hips. Rise up. Bring your feet a little closer. Hop. And back to the top. Before we move, just check in. Check in, even if you gotta shake it out. Arms lift, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling, step your left foot all the way back. Lower the back knee to the floor. It's both arms on the inside of the front leg this time. Let's pick up the right toes and turn the entire right leg open. So what that means is the right shin, knee, all pointing towards the side. Deep external rotation in the right leg, fingertips down. We did those little twists earlier. They tend to engage the hip flexors, the fronts of the thighs, so we're just lengthening that out a little bit. And then we'll bring the palms down, flat if you can, curl the back toes under, lift the back thigh. Now, swiveling onto the outer edge of your left foot, keep your left hand down, keep the right leg turned open. This is a side plank variation, so same rules apply, especially now that we're weight bearing. Shoulder blades down the back, bottom shoulder presses in, look up. You're welcome to step to full side plank here, or through to plank pose, or to a child's, or whatever you need. We're all gonna meet in downward dog. And from here, inhale, bend the knees, step or hop, top of the mat. Ardha Uttanasana, look forwards, and we fold. All right, second side, step your left foot all the way back. Lower the back knee to the floor, pick up the left toes, angle the foot out. So remember, we're not just turning at the knee or the shin. Knee has a little bit of rotation, so you really want to be aware that we actually don't rotate from the knee, but the thigh bone itself. And then you can be on your fingertips, the hips drop, you can have your palms flat, you can be on elbows, you can be way up. Find what works for you. It is a moment of repose, so just see, are you still efforting? And then you know what's coming, right? We are gonna play with the arm balance. Let that word inform how you come into it. Curl the back toes, ground your right hand, right outer foot down. Keep the left foot on the floor to support you. It's like a kickstand. Top arm up, we're in the Vashi prep. Slide the bottom shoulder away from the ears. If this is too much, you come back to the previous lunge. Some of you stepping all the way back into side plank pose, both feet together. Everybody meeting in down dog, however you need to get there. So some version of a vinyasa, up dog, chaturanga, all those things. Or some version of your vinyasa, meaning you choose how to get back to dog mindfully. Let's take a full breath in. And a full breath out. And then we're going to play a little bit. So from downward dog, cross your right ankle over your left knee. Let me say that again. From downward facing dog, cross your right ankle over your left knee. All right, so we're in a figure 4 from our down dog. And then just breathe, little inner thigh release on the right leg. I find it a little bit of outer hip on my left. Remember, there's no right or wrong. Your body's your body. And then the fun part is, can you hop to the top like this? Lift to left toes, bend your left knee, and hop. And maybe it takes a few hops to get even just to the center of the mat. Get where you need to go. Pause. We'll come into a figure 4 chair. Readjust it as you need to. Right ankle over the left hip hugging in. It's not about being perfect as I fix my hair in my pants for the 800th time. No, it is about what are those things we do to avoid the intensity. Those are definitely my outs. It's like perfect on the outside, falling apart on the inside. Let's do it the other way. right ankle over left thigh, left hip back. Let it fall apart outside. Can you find the center on the inside? Reach the arms up, figure 4 chair, and then just breathe. And when we're that much more forgiving for what's happening outside, for the appearance of things, because we're anchored into the internal, it's amazing how much steadier we get. Hands down, hop back into downward dog with the leg in your tree or your half figure 4, and then right back to down dog. All right, second side, left ankle over the right thigh, left ankle over right thigh. Look forward, hop as far as you can. You may only get a few inches. It may be a little bit of a bunny hop. You may get stuck in the center of the mat. And then we'll bend the standing knee. So I already feel that impulse to fix my hair, fix my pants. Stay in it. What's your exit plan? And can you just stay there? You know that the exit is right available to you. Stay the course. Let it be messy on the outside. Reach the arms up. Anchor on the inside, even if you got to readjust. Right hip hugs in and our left thigh releases down. You could be wobbling all over the place and yet totally focused. And some of you could be perfectly holding it and completely not here. Which do you think is the advanced practice? And we'll release the hands down, playing with the transition back to the dog. Can you hop back with the figure 4? Both feet down, and let's rest together, knees down. Child's pose. And not that it's bad, right, to fix the hair, fix the pants, or do the things, or drink the water. It's just noticing when and why we make those choices. That is vinyasa, intentional choices. And we'll come back up. You're always welcome to rest longer if you like. Set up 2 blocks at the top of the space. Downward dog. This may be a repose moment for you too. Just breathe, pedal the legs. Nod. On an inhale, lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, step the right foot forwards. Let's have a long stance, Parsvottanasana. Hands are on those blocks. Spin the back foot flat, straighten the front leg, reach the chest forward. Remember, it's not about having blocks. It's just about having a little more height so that when the head and the hips are in line, we can observe the distancing between the tail and the crown. Sometimes when we're folded, it's harder to achieve that or feel it. And then keep yourself this upright, fingertips, blocks, whatever, left hand onto the block. We'll take the right arm out to the side. There, adjust the hair. Very slowly, twisting open. What's your exit strategy? And can you instead stay the course, even if it gets a little messy? Work instead on the internal softening, the left shoulder blade down, the turning of the chest, deep breathing. And then we'll go ahead and release both hands down. So you can have them back on your blocks and fold. You can walk your hands forward or back. You do you. Just a moment to pause. We'll hop back into downward dog. Feel free to take a vinyasa or to simply rest. Left leg, inhale, lift it slow. Exhale, step the foot forward. Hop your back foot in. Spin it flat. Start with both hands on the blocks for now. Chest is the same height as the pelvis, mostly so we can feel the elongation. Not to say you can't elongate when you're folded, but it's just a little more accessible when we're upright. Coming into the twist, right hand down, left arm up. Are you looking for your exit plan? Can you be in it? Press the top of the right thigh back. Press the top of the left thigh back. Both thighs pull the lower part of the spine towards the back of the room. And then the heart, the chest, Reaching to the chin is what lengthens the top spine. Bottom shoulder down the back, turn, turn, turn. Maybe look up. Release, both hands down. Fold forward as you like. Remember, anything with your arms, and you can even do something different on this side. There's no yoga police that are going to come and get you for needing to do it evenly. And then we'll hop back. I assure you, you are not as symmetrical as you may think you are. Step to plank and hold. And then come into up dog. And we never will be. We want to honor the differences. And back to dog. And then from here, we're going to jump through to sitting. Bend the knees. You can jump to sit. You can come to lying on your back. Whatever you need to get there. We'll start with a few dynamic bridges. Have the arms by your side. Feet and legs hips wide. On an inhale, lift the hips up. Take the arms up and overhead. Reach the arms. And exhale, lower. I'm actually glad my blanket is overhead, so I'm going to keep this here. That wasn't the plan, but the reason is, go ahead and lift your hips up. If you have a blanket overhead, when you take the arms over, instead of just dropping the arms back, press the thumb edge of the hands into whatever's it's touching. So it can be the floor, your blankets, a bolster. And when you press down, you'll notice the shoulders, the bunching in the trapezius. Try to keep it soft, neck long, exhale, lower. We'll do this one more time. So again, the blanket was just an improvisation. You can do this with the fingers on the floor. You can do it with the arms on the block or the bolster. This time, keeping the hips up, lower the arms down by your side. Let's walk the shoulders underneath. Get really high onto the heads of the shoulders. Interlace the fingers. Press the pinkies down into the ground. Let the outer wrist, the outer arm become part of your foundation, and maybe even walk the shoulders under a little bit more. Taking one big breath here, bridge pose. We'll lower slow to the floor. And then we'll do one more. Lift the hips up. Interlace the hands so the opposite finger is on top, as high up onto the shoulders as you can get. Really lengthening the tailbone towards the backs of the knees. So the length doesn't stop here, that axial extension of crown of head to tail. We continue that even within the back bend. Instead, we use the opposition of the heels drawing back, the sit bones towards the backs of the knees, as the backs of the thighs draw towards the sit bones to create length in the spine while we have solidity in the legs. And then we'll exhale slowly. Release. Take the heel of the hand to the tops of the thighs. Press your thigh bones forward and let the pushing of the thighs forward, let that be almost like its own sense of length. Like the spine doesn't have to do it on its own anymore. Now we can let our hands aid a little bit. Hands by your side, legs up towards the ceiling. The modification for this, if you need to, is to bend the knees and go one at a time. Otherwise, we're going to try both legs, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. So from here, inhale. Exhale, gather your low belly towards the navel. Inhale, we're going to lower the legs. And then exhale to lift. I like lifting on an exhale because it moves with the diaphragm. Inhale and lower, belly fills, breath expands. Exhale to lift. That's 2 of 5 on your own. Inhale, talk about a moment to observe where you're efforting. Exhale, and to practice softening as my shoulders leach to the ceiling. Inhale. And exhale. And then we just have one more. Inhale and lower. Exhale to lift. Bring the knees in. Once again, heel of the hand to those top thighs. A lot of hip flexor work today. That's the muscles that connect the thigh towards the chest, that pull the thigh to the chest. So giving them a little love, especially for where we're going. We'll roll to a side, come up to sit. I'm just gonna face you to face you, but you face whatever direction you'd like. Paschimottanasana. So go ahead and sit up tall. If you need to sit up on a blanket or anything, feel free to do so. Reach the arms up. Exhale, we go up and over the legs, holding the outer edges of the feet using a strap, or you're sitting upright. The point is not to get as low as possible. It is to maintain this attention and effort of the length, attention and ease and length, while in a pose that may be effortful for you. Can you tell which one I do most? Which one I need to work on? And you may be the opposite, right? For you, you may easily find your ease. You may flop and soften all the time. And maybe for you, it's that little bit more effort. It's always on a continuum. And we're just finding what we need as individuals. We'll come to sit slowly. Okay, so we are gonna do Shavasana in a little bit of a different way. We're gonna do Viparita Karani with the legs up the wall. Now, I'm gonna do it right here I have a sliding door here, but you are welcome to go to a wall space. You can do this on a couch. So how we're gonna do this is you have your hips right up against whatever you're laying next to. Swing the legs up, and then the legs will go up the wall or the couch, or this is literally, I'll show you, right? This is like windows on either side. So I'm just using the wood. Use any part that you'd like. Legs up. The other thing you can do as well is you can put a block under your sacrum and do this in a supported Viparita Karani shape. The key is watching what the shoulders can do and really snuggling them under. So there is this kind of bridge element to the upper back. And then we'll take a full breath in through the nose. Open your mouth. And I invite you to do that with me 4 more times, 5 full breaths. Inhale. You can make it ujjayi, that ocean sound, contract the throat, pause. Open the mouth. Three more, you don't have to be with me. Inhale. Pause. Exhale through the mouth or nose. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. And then remaining here to rest. You can always pause the video and stay as long as you'd like. We're just here for a few more seconds. We'll bring the knees towards the chest. Roll over to a side. Press on up to sitting. Sit in the same position that we began in, that Sukhasana position. Let the hands fall where they may. Maybe close the eyes if you feel supported to do so. And then just notice where the shell is. I hope it's off to the side like that blanket. Or at the very least that you've pulled it down like a little shawl. Maybe turn the head. Test it. And we'll bring our hands into gratitude. I am so grateful for all of you. Thank you for joining me today. If you haven't checked it out yet, my book, The Yoga of Parenting, is coming out June 2023 through Shambhala. You look it up at yogaofparentingbook.com or Sarah Ezrin Yoga. Join me on all the socials, and just so much love to all of you. Thank you.